There's a combination of both African professionals with Vincent Kitio. We have the Institute of in Energy Efficiency and Conservation with Benoit Lebord. We have Jimna University of Technology, and we have ECOWAS Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. So we all got together and started to analyze the challenge and also to see how we were going to address these cross-cutting issues that are very broad-based. So one, we have the benefit of having a diverse view of expertise across all areas of the economy, but also we found that it is not as easy as that, that in order to be able to properly appreciate both the problem and the opportunity, we had to look at where it applies. And we found that they are the action areas where something will need to be done, and that is in the energy supply chain and the cross-cutting issues. Against that, we have the sector or the stakeholders who are involved in one way, shape, or form. So we have the private sector, civil society, academia, we have research, we have individuals. And against that, we have to see how they interact with the energy conversion, energy transmission and distribution, and also with the end-use devices. So using this as the overlaying interaction between energy and sector, we were able to also research, looked at quite a number of published publications, I believe more than 50 different publications, and out of those we were able to condense the issues that are most pertinent to developing energy efficiency in Africa. So we found that they cut across those energy sectors on the energy chain, but at the same time they also touch on issues such as policy, capacity building, behavioral change, finance, and integration and coordination of policies. So within this representation, what we're looking at as the matrix, you have it on a scale where the more intense, the darker the color, that shows that in that particular area requires more attention than other areas. And then it goes by the category of the people that are involved. So you find everybody is able to collaborate using this simple tool and identify what action measures are most prominently sticking out. And the way that this was made is this is a dynamic tool. It is not an end in itself. It can be customized to different countries, regions, situations, sectors, but be able to provide a method to be able to assess and predetermine on a solid basis where the actions that will give the best results will come from. So out of this, the areas that were identified to have the highest impact is around what has been discussed a bit here on the environmental regulations, the energy performance standards, labeling. We found improvement of domestic cooking systems. That is probably the biggest energy issue in any African country. We have the development of tools for assessment, energy auditing, and life cycle assessment. There is the issue of improving access to finance and funding, specifically for energy efficiency. And there's also the reduction of energy in the transport sector, depending on which combination, whether it is cleaner fuels, less fuels, or even a switch to electricity as a source of fuel for transportation. And finally, there's the improved access through a combination of energy efficiency and renewables. And just to touch, following the theme that was being discussed here, one of the areas where we get a very good cross-section is with geothermal. We don't have to use our geothermal only for electricity. We can use the steam directly for manufacturing. And that is one of the projects that I think is ongoing. So with that, I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. And that was a great presentation. I guess we've picked quite a lot from it. Now, would like to get into close to the final part of these conversations. And I mean, we have had conversations on the new frontiers of renewable energy in East Africa, integration of non-programmable renewable in the national electric system in Kenya. We've also talked about the role of regional integration in fostering renewable energy in East Africa and the opportunities for emerging markets. But would now like to come to our closing remarks, and we're going to start with Isaac Kiva, who is the Secretary for Renewable Energy at the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum here in Kenya, before we can hear from the Cabinet Secretary for Mining, Republic of Kenya. A round of applause for him.
So the Honorable Minister for Mining, Honorable Dan Kazungu, and the General Secretary of Rest for Africa, we're so glad that Minister, you could join us in this very day when we are discussing an issue where we share common interest, the Ministry of Energy and Ministry of Mining. Let me also bring the apologies of our peers who was to be here with you, Pana Minister, because he was called for a meeting chaired by the Deputy President regarding the budget, and I think he couldn't make it. All that, ladies and gentlemen, we are so grateful to Rest for Africa and all the panelists, all the speakers, all the delegates for the engagement we have had the last 2 days. Also very acknowledge the Embassy of Italy for their very good support. We have had all the discussions in the last 2 days. I will just mention a few, like we discussed about integrating the non-renewable energies into the system. We are very particularly happy with the recommendation that we can actually be able to enhance more capacity into the grid with a lot of ease. We are very happy about that. We also discussed about establishment of the Microgrid Academy, and indeed we had some presentation of the first lot of 50 students from across the region and also from Italy. This is going to be very useful for us as a country as we enhance our electrification to the rural areas, because we are going to be using mini grids and solar home system. So this capacity building is going to be very helpful to the country. I will mention about the risk mitigation sessions that we had, looking at how to de-risk investments in the energies, in renewable energy, and all the wisdom of practitioners in this area. We're so happy. And this discussion, by the way, will continue next week, because IRENA and other partners and organized 4 sessions, 4 days, where we are looking at just risk mitigation and financing of renewable energy and also geothermal next week. So it's a joy that we are starting something today, and next week we are just focusing on just that, and we are glad on that. We were happy that on the case for shifting from feed-in tariff policy to energy auction, there is consensus that there are some gains to be made out of that. That encourages the government to move and be able to transit indeed our policies to energy auction, which is going to be better for our planning and perhaps be able to give us good prices. I could go on and mention about the sessions we had about the new emerging technologies, about storage, about decentralized systems. It's a lot. But what we are hoping for is that we will get a book summarizing all these issues so that we can be able to integrate them. For us at the Ministry of Energy, what we will be able to do is that we will infuse these ideas into our planning, so that when we are doing our policies and our strategies, then we are able to gain from the insights we have been able to gain from this conference. We're also particularly very happy that yesterday we managed to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Italian Ministry of Environment, Land and Sea, which is going to enhance cooperation in renewable energy. So then we will be able to follow up the issues that have been raised here. We are grateful for Rest for Africa, for Vigoti, for Luca Marena, who has been very persistent in following all of us to be able to be here. And no wonder we can get a very good, sizable participation the second day, Honorable Minister. We were here yesterday and today, and we thank these gentlemen very much. And also all the panelists, we are so grateful. We also want to encourage those who came from outside. If you want to meet any public officer or office, we have been instructed by my principal secretary to facilitate that appointment. So you just tell Luca, and if you want to see them later tomorrow or any other day, we will be able to facilitate that engagement so that you can continue with the discussion which you have already started in this very place. So again, we want to thank you, Rest for Africa, and all of you panelists, and we look forward to a time like this next year. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's not my name title. That's the Cabinet Secretary's name title. Would like to also appreciate the sponsors of this event as it comes to a conclusion. And one of the key sponsors for the 2018 Rest for Africa Renewable Energy Expo is Siemens Gamesa Renewable Energy. We've also had NL Green Power as one of these sponsors. ERM, European Investment Bank, Freem, as well as Enetronica, and EPS, which is Electric Power System, among other sponsors of this event. And also just to remind you, in the afternoon we're going to be having the Innovators event by NL Power and Seed Stars. This is one that you do not want to miss out on. We're going to have our young startup businesses or business innovators showcasing some of the best innovations that they've come up with in the energy sector. So this is one that is going to be very competitive. Each of the finalists, who actually were chosen from about 100 participants, have been narrowed down to about 5, and we're going to be seeing those presentations in the afternoon, and we will have a winner being announced. So we are all excited and looking forward to that as well for that part of the afternoon. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Mining here in Kenya, Honorable Dan Kazungu.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you so much. I'm looking at the attendance in the room right now, and it looks like it's been a very successful event, and I'm glad that we're having this event this year. Sorry I didn't make it last year. Sorry again, I didn't make it yesterday. I had really wanted to be here, but I had a government appointment in the Middle East, and I'm glad that I made it on time yesterday to be here with you today. So it's a great pleasure, of course, first of all, and I don't know whether to start by telling you or wishing you Happy New Year or a prosperous New Year. Which one do you like? Prosperous or happy? Prosperous. Oh, okay. I see. I guess when you're prosperous, then you can find a way to be happy. Yeah. So again, it's sorry I was a little late. I think this gentleman who talked about a meeting in the morning at KICC about the budget. Kenya's budget is being put together now, and I had to attend because, of course, that touches on a lot of government ministries and parastatals and how we're going to be shaping our agenda for the country going forward. And so I had to attend as well. I've just come from there now and straight to this event. They didn't even allow me to go to the office. And I said it's okay, because I got the team of Lucas and Daniel. They've been persistent in coming to the office. And please, a round of applause for these gentlemen. They've been very, very hard. And before I start read my speech here, I think we are living very interesting times indeed in the country today, because, and especially linking what we are discussing today about renewable energy. Because the country, as you know, last year we went through a political process, and now the focus is on transforming those ideals, those expectations of the people, and to drive that agenda in order to take our country forward. And the country has done a lot of soul searching based on what we heard from the people in the campaign trail last year. And it's very clear that from all that, we put it down and into 4 key areas. So I think at a very high level, it's good that, and I know we have visitors here from different parts of the world. And I think before I say that, I really want to thank Strathmore. Do we have the manager in Strathmore here? I really want us to thank Strathmore for being a lead institution, for bringing all these key events in the country and fostering serious discussion going forward. Let's clap for Strathmore, please. So the discourse for the country going forward now is around 4 key areas. And this is not only for Kenyans and people in the country, but people who come into the country. It's good that you know what the focus for the country is. The focus for the country is in 4 key areas, what we call the Big 4. Yeah, in the world you hear Big 5. I don't know whether we left the lion or the rhino or the buffalo, but we focus is on Big 4. So the Big 4 is on food security. The number 1, food security. You know, a country is stronger if it's secure around food. Its food needs, and also to produce more foods to fire its agro-processing and industrialization. So number 1, food security. We're serious about that as a country, and that's the number 1 priority, or number 1 pillar for our Big 4 agenda. Number 2, universal health care. You know, a healthy nation is a wealthy nation, and that's a key focus area going forward. Number 3, housing. We're keen on building affordable housing up to minimum 500,000 units in the next 4 years, because we will have 4 years now. Well, if we can do more than that, why not? But the minimum is ensure that we deliver on affordable housing for our people. And the final one is increase manufacturing, increase industrialization. And you can't talk industry without talking power, can you? So industrialization is going to be a big factor. Manufacturing will be a key play. It's a key pillar. And manufacturing, again, will be focused on or driven by at least 5 key subsectors. We're looking at, of course, agro-processing. That is basically agriculture-based manufacturing. We're keen on the blue economy, fisheries. We're really keen on textile, from cotton production to cotton ginneries to apparel to the textile industry as a whole. We're keen on shoe, or if you like, leather manufacturing, leather processing. That's a key focus for us, because as you know, as a country, we have a lot of communities that rear animals. I mean, goats, cows, sheep, and want to use, of course, the meat to not only use it for domestic use, but also the leather to ensure that you just don't buy shoes from Italy, where Mr. Vigodi comes from, but you can buy from here in Kenya. So big push on leather. And there will also be a big push on value addition, on mining and mineral processing. which is where I come in. So we're going to be a big push about that. Mineral mining and value addition and mineral processing. And minerals also becomes a key pillar in firing our manufacturing agenda. Of course, we can't do all this without technology and innovation. And I think Joy talked about that, innovation and ICT. ICT then plays a very key role as an enabler across the board. Just as energy, and especially renewable energy, plays a key role around that. So that broadly is the vision for the country going forward. And I thought you need to know where the country is going. And those are the key big 4 pillars and the enablers that will drive Kenya going forward. And so wherever you are, especially if you look at all these key areas, they'll be driven through PPP arrangement. The country will, of course, come in and support some of these initiatives, but you'll appreciate most of them will be either private sector-led, but also leveraging on partnership with some of you who may want to come in to focus on agriculture, to focus on housing projects, to focus on universal healthcare, and these other key areas of mineral processing and the key areas that we talked about. So huge opportunity. If you came to Kenya today, yeah, apart from watching the lions 5 minutes from here, we encourage you to, of course, explore our country and tour our great nation. This is the home of the top safari destination. You know that. And so as much as you enjoy that, enjoy all this great conversation here, I'd like you to invite you to look at these key areas that hopefully we can partner with most of you in this great, exciting journey in Kenya today. So if you allow me, I'll go to my speech. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's good afternoon now, not good morning, right? Depending where you are. It's good afternoon in Kenya. It gives me a great honor to be joining you at the climax of this year's Race for Africa event as Kenya champions Africa in fostering renewable energy solutions such as geothermal, which we talked about here, wind and solar power solutions. Having this event is one of the surest ways to show the country's commitment in achieving sustainable development goal number 7, which is about ensuring access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all by the year 2030. Incidentally, 2030 is where we are all anchoring our development agenda. You know, a lot of what we do is anchored on Vision 2030. So it's great that we have this as well in the SDGs. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, energy is central to nearly every major challenge and opportunity the world faces today, be it for jobs, for industrialization we talked about, climate change, food security, and all mining and extractives. And it's very important here to know that in Kenya, the ministry that has been given the mandate to come with the national policy on extractives is the Ministry of Mining. So we are developing our end-to-end overarching policy on extractives that guides how the country approaches the extractive sector going forward. So again, we'll be welcoming some of you to work with us, the Ministry of Mining, as we develop this policy on extractives in the country. Access to energy for all is very essential, as you can imagine. One way to achieve universal access is through public-private partnership to increase investment of renewable energy solutions across the country. And I've talked about the focus on public-private partnerships going forward. Kenya's mining and extractive sector, and this comes as a shock to a lot of people, that the Ministry of Mining was established 5 years ago in 2013 when His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta took over and under the Jubilee administration, and the Ministry of Mining came up. Before it was a department of the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources for many years. But guess what? For all the reform agenda we put together and the work we put together, working with partners and try to set up the country to on a path to economic transformation by getting mining to become a key sector going forward, in very short time, mining is now the third highest growth sector in the country at 9.5%. I think that's incredible. And this is, you know, in the Kenya, by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics figures of 2017. The sector has also been highlighted as a focus area on the national government agenda by His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. I've just told you about the Big Four and how the mining now comes in as a key plank in creating jobs and wealth, especially for young people through mineral value addition and mineral processing. To achieve optimum growth in the sector, there is need to build resilient infrastructure, which Kenya is at the heart of doing this, building lots of infrastructure, whether it's airports, it's roads, it's ports. I'm sure you've heard about the LAPSA project. All these mega projects are ways or means of trying to set the country on the path to economic transformation and creating jobs and wealth and become a hub for mineral trading and industrialization in this region. And therefore, we are keen to build sustainable industrialization and fostering innovation going forward. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, mining and drilling operations often sit in remote areas, as you can imagine, far from the established electricity infrastructure, like say Nairobi. Yet they often have significant power needs on the order of tens and megawatts and even tens of gigawatts hours per site. You imagine that most of the mining projects will sit in Magadi or Flospa. Magadi is in Kajiado County, or Flospa projects in Elgeyo Marakwet, far away from here, or possible mining projects for gold in Western Kenya, in Kakamega and Migori County, away from power sites. Yet they often have, like I said, they require a lot of energy to fire the operations. This has seen most miners use diesel generators to provide these power needs. You will be shocked. I attended this DRC mining week in Lubumbashi, in Katanga. And you know Katanga in the DRC Congo is the mining province, if you like, of the DRC Congo. Bigger than France. I don't know whether people from France here. They're here? Okay, fine. So Katanga province is bigger than France. It's a mining giant, mining province of the DRC. And that's where you find the major big mines of copper, of tin. And guess what? They use diesel shipped from Kenya. Imagine that. It's incredible. That we have this major project, and it's the same here in Kenya as well. We need more power because these projects require, like I say, affordable, available, renewable, cheaper power, because mining is a business and you want affordable power so that you can, it takes care of your bottom line. And however, there are, we know diesel is expensive, they feel expensive and sometimes harmful. Sometimes, I think it's an understatement, most times it's harmful to the miners' health and the environment as well, and especially for small-scale mining sector. You can't keep using diesel. It will be harmful to the people's health and the environment as well. Therefore, access to reliable, cost-effective forms of energy is a strategic priority, not just for Kenya and Africa, but also for the global mining community or mining sector. We need more hybrid solar power plants and other innovative forms of renewable energy to reduce the fuel cost of mines and industry and provide reliable power at a predictable rate. Again, predictable is very important because you don't want rates keep shifting. That doesn't look good for your plan in the mine. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya will this March 2018, commenced at the nationwide airborne geophysical survey led by the Ministry of Mining to identify and quantify the country's mineral wealth for further exploration by local and foreign investors. And energy will play a crucial role in its successful completion. We have been waiting for this project for many years to just map the entire Republic of Kenya from land to see where minerals are. Even where we have minerals, we want to to see what other minerals are there as well. So this project is very key. We'll be launching in March, and I invite you to take keen interest in this. The good news is that that investment in the renewable energy solution in Kenya is steadily picking up, and I encourage mining investors to tap into these innovative solutions to achieve SDG number 12 of ensuring sustainable consumption and production of mining operations. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I wish to thank Race for Africa, the organizers of this fantastic, wonderful event, for the commitment to partner with Kenya on various platforms. I can see Mr. Vigodi is very happy. I hope he stays here longer and keeps putting this thing together every year. The success of projects such as the Microgrid Academy and institutional support from Strathmore University is a step in the right direction. It is through events such as this that opportunities for investment arise and encourage both local and foreign investors to tap into the renewable energy solutions for a prosperous and happy Kenya. We said prosper, right? Okay. It is now my honor, ladies and gentlemen, to declare the Race for Africa Renewable Energy Expo 2018 officially closed, and I look forward to the next one in 2019. I thank you, asante sana, and God bless Kenya.
Thank you so much. We'll now have a vote of thanks from Engineer Roberto Vigorti, who is the Secretary General, Race for Africa.
Well, like George Clooney will say, what else? Mr. Minister, thank you so much. I'm really impressed. By the way, if you come to Italy, you will go a minister, high ranking very much in the Minister of Italy. So you can come to Italy, become a minister, you leave Kiva the job, okay, here. I'm really impressed by the quality and of the relation. We've been coming for the second time to Kenya, and we delivered, he knows, and we want to come back next time with something concrete. Certainly our big book will have another extra chapter on renewable for mining, and I know many of my shareholders will be loved to. They've done my colleague from Enel in Chile for the mining reason. I mean, these are so essential. The price of energy doesn't matter, the sustainability is there. So I promise you next time, I'm sure even before, if we do an MOU, we provide you the elements, and of course we want to run for building with you. This conference, so thanks to Joy, Joy, of course, thank you. You look like Joy looks like a Renaissance Madonna with a child, you know, I love her. So thank you and good luck, of course. Prosperous because the private sector wants prosperous. I am a simple researcher, I can do happy, okay? But I don't have to say much more because my pasta al dente is getting overcooked over there. So everything we have done here in a transparent way, our model of working is to attract about 39 international leaders who work vis-a-vis with one country. And Kenya, you were told, is our first choice and will remain our first choice. I want Kenya to be the benchmark for Eastern Africa, and we are coming back soon. I wanted Mr. Kiva, which now is my good friend. I invited Kiva to come to Italy as well, not only for pasta, but also for seeing our excellency. And yes, next year we may want to consider to come. Everything's on the website. Next week you can go in the website if you really don't know what else to do, and you download the presentation, the video, because our policy is nothing only to share with our friends. And multiplication, I hope everybody you in the room will multiply what we've known. So grazie, we say ciao next time, okay?
Well, thank you so much, and we encourage you all to please stay on for the innovation event in the afternoon. It's going to be one interesting conversation that we're going to be having, but also great showcasing of our startups. Thank you so much, and thank you to the Honorable Cabinet Secretary for Mining for making time for the event. Thank you all very much. Good afternoon.